China has rejected criticism of its activities in the South China Sea on many occasions. It maintains it has sovereignty over the disputed territories that stretches back over many years. And for more on the issues facing China at the ASEAN Summit and beyond, we're joined from Beijing by current affairs commentator Einar Tangen. Welcome to the broadcast.
Good evening, Susan.
ASEAN nations seem to be divided on the South China Sea issue, but the Philippines is pushing for a collective condemnation on China. Malaysia has downplayed it, and Cambodia said they didn't take any stance on the issue. Will this issue end up dominating the summit?
No, I doubt it. I mean, this is a push mostly by the Philippines. They're playing the U.S. card very, very heavily here. I mean, if you understand the history of this, the Philippines are the last and probably least viable legal claim to the areas of the South China Sea. So it's not surprising that they're being the most aggressive.
Have China's actions in the South China Sea created a deep divide, though, between the 10 ASEAN members?
Well, I think you have to look at the history. I mean, if you're really interested in this issue, you should be looking at a April 10th discussion at Brown University by former Ambassador Chaz Freeman, where he laid out very, very succinctly exactly what all of these competing claims were. If you go back to 1845, France was trying to make claims there. China asserted its claims. You go to 1945, post-World War II, the U.S. and everyone recognized, including Vietnam, recognizes China's sovereignty over the area of South China Seas. It's just in the 1950s, Vietnam reverses, and then in the 1970s, the Philippines, in anticipation of the law of the seas, started saying, oh, okay, no, these are our islands. Very, very tenuous legal claims. But what it's turned into is a land rush, and everybody is trying to physically occupy based on this idea that what you occupy is yours.
What will dominate the summit?
In terms of this issue or other issues?
Other issues.
I think the main thing, the main issue right now is actually, apart from the security things, is the AIIB. I mean, China's new foray into economic cooperation can't be ignored. Remember, ASEAN suffers from a lack of dedicated infrastructure. They haven't had the monies to do that. Enormous holes in terms of the available funds versus the needs. So the AIIB is a real game changer. It put the U.S. a little bit back on its heels. The question is, how is the U.S. going to respond to this? Is it going to be a constructive response where they engage? We'll see that with the Xi and Obama summit that's coming up. But if it would be dangerous if the U.S. starts becoming extremely defensive and starts using more military pressure as opposed to trying to respond to the economic game.
Let me just ask you, Mr. Tangen, do you feel like what's happening in Nepal right now and the efforts there will in any way interrupt the efforts with the summit?
No, I don't think so. I think this is an opportunity for ASEAN to show great sympathy for a terrible tragedy. This is a situation that actually pulls countries together. There's a lot of concern about this. It's something, natural disasters are affecting all of the ASEAN nations, whether it's earthquakes, tsunamis, very, very terrible tropical storms. These are the types of things that that humble human beings and make us realize that we have more in common, and that our common enemies are really the circumstances and environment we find ourselves in.